Hello, it's me again. Alyssa here, Manifestor Life Channel. I am overcoming fears of sharing my inner world with the world and exploring it through one of many YouTube channels. Feel free to check out my others, all associated with Manifestor Reality. And this is an answer to Xavier's comment on one of the videos. Thank you, Xavier. I hope I'm saying that right. And I would love to share more information about what I meant when I said parts of myself that I don't typically share of myself in one of my videos. In the video, I was talking about how it's important for me to share those parts of myself that I don't normally share so that I can experience feedback from other people about what they see in me in terms of my gifts and talents that I may not be able to see myself. And this is real, guys. Like, you have talents inside you that you don't know about if you don't interact with a lot of people because you think that people are terrible for some reason. And there are lots of reasons to think that people are terrible. I'm not saying that you don't have reasons, but I'm saying they're not good enough reasons. You need to interact with people so that you can figure out what your gifts and talents are, so that you can live the more fulfilled life that you feel like you deserve, but you don't right now because you're not showing up for it. So that came off judgy, but you know what? That's one of my channels. So I have the judgment channel and I'm working on it. And I use it best when I am sharing my judgment about the collective. So I think that's what I'm doing here, but let me know if I am hurting anybody's feelings. And even if I should be hurting your feelings, I want to know about it. Like, let's dialogue this whole, what did I say? And then you tell me, and then I can give you all the reasons why I think it may have rubbed you wrong. And you can consider if any of those potentially ring true for you. It'll be a fun game and nobody's wrong. It's an experiment of life, which is the way that we play in life, right? So anyways, back to answering the question. I made a list of things about me that I don't normally share. And I actually have a list of inner and outer things. So, of course, the way the mind works, especially mine still, because I'm still figuring out this whole, how does my mind work and why do I do the things I do, and et cetera, et cetera. But so the external things were things like being loud. Throughout my childhood, I have like hysterical, insane laughter, and it's loud and it echoes down the halls. Like, this is how my husband finds me in crowded places, is by listening for my laugh. And I have narrow nasal passages that mean that when I laugh, I honk like a goose sometimes and like a donkey at other times, as I've been told by the outside world. And I developed a complex about this when I was younger. And so I hid my laughter. I did not laugh because I didn't want people to stare at me. And everywhere I go, people stare at me. Like manifestors, you walk in the room, you got the attention on you. And I always thought that it was either because I was like extra special, which is dangerous. Like, thinking you are too special is narcissism. And so I used to either do that or I would try to be a good, meek little girl and just be good and quiet and not too loud, and like weird shit comes out when you suppress your laughter. I showed up like a freak in so many rooms, and they treated me like that, and I didn't understand. And they can't help but look at us because of the way our aura works. And I didn't understand that before I found human design. So I still haven't gotten to the list. My goodness. Okay, so the things that I do on the outside are, oh wait, yes I did. I started. Okay, so being loud, and my laughter. One of the other things that I have always done, and like probably even more so than other manifestors, but I'd be interested to hear, is asking why. Because that the act of asking why is suppressed early on when we drive all of the adults nuts asking them why about every single thing in the world. And that's when they teach us that you're not supposed to ask why about everything. Instead, you're supposed to ask how. And then they teach us how to learn things in a step-by-step linear process, which doesn't work for most of us. That's a whole nother story. But asking why. So I've read in a couple of places that manifestors are like uniquely like viewing the world through the why lens. And that's one of the things that makes our perspective so different and so frustrating for other people, because like if they just, sat around for 2 hours a week or 4 hours a week or 2 hours a day in my instance right now, asking why, they wouldn't get all of the doingness done in their worlds, in the generator worlds, or the guidingness done in the projector worlds. And so we need that extra permission to give to ourselves that says it's okay to ask why, and then ask why of that thing, and then ask why of that thing, because we're the energy generators. We're the starters of things. Do you know how much energy it takes to get something started versus taking something that's already running down the road and just keep running with it? Like, we operate differently. We have to operate differently energetically in order for things to be able to get started for us and for the rest of the world, so that they can start taking that ball and dragging it down the rest of the road. And we have to do it in like a fury frenzy almost of like asking why, getting inspired, and then just acting and doing it in an imperfect way. Because if we wait until we have all of our perfect shit lined up, we're never going to get there, which is why I don't have a map for these podcasts, because I would have never gotten there. And I am extremely productive. I have lived a very successful generator life as a manifestor, but I also burned out like 7 times. So, I mean, I can't really say I lived a successful generator life. I just did it in spurts, like you would expect of a manifestor. So, other things that I've done as examples that make other people uncomfortable by just being. So without even sharing what's going on inside my head at all, or what's coming out of my mouth. I have this thing with hair. So I have big hair, right? This girl has more hair than you can imagine. And like, it's just, there's so much of it. I can't even tell you. When I get my hair cut, the hairstylist, there's just like piles and piles of it. So anyways, I have extremely sensitive skin. And I have tried skin products my whole life, trying to figure out how I was going to be this like perfect, dainty lady with no hair on her arms and legs and armpits and other places and stuff. So I have not had a beautiful journey with that. And one of the things I found in my human design chart is that I embody naturalness, and materialism is like something that doesn't work for me. And so I just died laughing when I saw that. I was like, Yeah, I tried world, um and so I no longer play those games, and I don't shave my legs, and I wear dresses out in public without shaved legs, and that makes women uncomfortable. Men don't care. My husband doesn't care. Like, but any woman, she's like, oh, what does your husband think about that? I'm telling you, it's fascinating when you're comfortable with something and other people feel like they need to tell you that you're not doing society right. And when you're able to come into it from a confidence place, the things you learn about humanity are remarkable. So other things that I do that make other people uncomfortable is by being really wholesome and not engaging in like a lot of the really dark comedy and dark drama and TV obsession and like the kind of dark cult um, culture that we have right now. It just doesn't work for me. I've tried. I tried to be cool, y'all. Like I love my own things. I've got my witches and my animals and my nature and you know cute little baby animals and stories about grandmothers and like I'm just really freaking wholesome. I cuss and that's about it. And I'm not apologizing for it anymore. And people just look at me and they like feel bad for me and I can see that they feel bad for me and it's not necessary because I love my life and I'm not missing out just because I don't enjoy the things that they enjoy. But it also means that I don't go and do those things with them. So things that just make them uncomfortable. And then they'll feel like they can't cuss around me. And that's the best part when they're like, oh, well, you don't watch dark stuff. So that must mean these other things about you. And I'm like, no, no, that I just like the Hallmark Channel. I'm just that kind of girl. But it doesn't mean that you can make any assumption about me in my life because I don't meet any of those stereotypes that you want to dump me into. And that also makes them uncomfortable when I react that way instead of like asking them for advice about how I should live, which is what they expect me to do. They like women will say, "Oh, well, you would shave your legs if you found a way that made you feel like you could shave your legs without it hurting." And that's crazy. Why do I need to shave my legs? Why are we shaving our legs? Why are we wasting time and cutting ourselves and screwing with our mental confidence over hair that we've always had, that everybody has in all the places? These are the questions that I want to ask. Just saying. Okay. Next. Let's see. Let me have a sip. There was another question. Let's see what that other question was. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about Yeah. Okay. So I think I answered that question. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and start the next episode of Manifestor Life. So this was the answer to the questions. Send more comments. Thank you, Xavier, for showing up on my channel. You are my first subscriber and and confirmation that I'm on the right track creating content, even though it's not perfect, and even though I'm not an expert, and even though I'm definitely an unusual duck. We'll just leave it at that. So let us all say thank you to the dragon who showed up for the show today. I'm playing with these goofy little backgrounds to try to keep it fun, but I do love fantasy. Fairies are my favorite, and gnomes are part of my organizing company because gnomes are the spirit of everything, but we'll get into that another day.